Good afternoon, and Bill, thank you very much for the statement that you made and for the remarks. I too am proud to be here today, and as we begin anew to forge, word you used, a new collective bargaining agreement that will accomplish the goals you outlined, which parallel very much our goals as well. I'm going to reverse order a few things in my sequence of comments. We meet today to begin the processes of collective bargaining amid a fresh assault on an industry that I'm proud to say this union stands firmly with, and its disappointment in the administration and the comments made about this industry, the work we do, the products we produce, the efficiencies of which this industry operates on a global in a global marketplace. And while we may have bumps in the road and we may have disagreements on many areas, support for this industry is something the IAM and the industry itself share very closely, and we guard it very carefully. We're not afraid to speak out when we're attacked. As we begin the negotiations this year, I do take time to reflect back to 2008 when the downturn occurred in the economy and how it affected all of the employers here in Wichita, let alone employers in many industries around this country. But I have a particular affection for the industry and this city and its workers here. And I remember earlier in 2008, across Wichita, we had, among all the employers, almost 10,000 job openings that we were having a difficult time filling, scouring this country and elsewhere, trying to find skilled aircraft workers. And it didn't take very long to see us have 10,000 layoffs by the end of the year. But it was during those times when employment was high and we couldn't find workers that the concept for the very place we're meeting at was being formulated by the industry leaders here and with input from this union. And I think it's only appropriate that we meet today at this place because this represents the future of the industry. And Wichita has staked a very serious claim to that future. And we're proud of everything that's been accomplished here. When you set it out in bricks and mortar and steel and glass and stone, it's meant to be here for a while, and I think that's symbolic for how this industry and this city feel about each other. It's also symbolic how this union feels about this city and this industry as well. So preparing for the future is what gets done at a facility like this, a world-class facility for a world-class industry that employs world-class workers. And to meet and complete or complement those goals, we can avail ourselves to a thing called collective bargaining. It's been under attack and under assault in this country now for months. People maybe don't understand it, the value of it, or the contribution it makes to a better society. But through the processes of collective bargaining, we help plan for the future. We help lock in the efficiencies. We help make this industry the envy of the world. And those who work in this industry contribute greatly to it, whether it's the skill of their hands, guided by the sharpness of their minds, by the things they do ancillary to the business. It all is locked to this idea of a better tomorrow. And so we intend to use this round of collective bargaining as we always do, we greet it with an open mind. We are very willing to explore new ideas. We know our world has changed. Just a couple of weeks, Bill, you and I, and many of the leadership members of the IAM's Aerospace Division attended the Paris Air Show. It's the first time labor from this country has ever had a showing at the world's largest aero exposition. We were joined there by our sister unions from 40 other countries who are in this business. It was the first time global labor had a presence at the Paris Air Show. And collectively, we saw what goes on at an air show. And it is not just fancy plane flying, that's probably just the tiniest part of it. It's the business conducted at the air show. It's no longer a Wichita-centric business. It's no longer an American-centric business. It's a global-centric business. And we saw companies, we saw unions, we saw competitors all vying for a piece of this business. And it drove home the point just how critical our negotiations here with Hawker Beechcraft are, and our negotiations with all of general aviation centered here in Wichita and elsewhere in the country is. For those who've never been there, I highly recommend it because it's a mind-blowing experience. It's overwhelming to the senses, and I can assure you the IAM will be exposing more and more of its members from this industry to what the real world out there looks like today. Given all of that, it's easy then to understand the concerns our members have today. And that's why we look forward to this collective bargaining session. Job security has been, is, and will remain for a long time to come a very critical issue for the members of the Machinists Union, of organized labor, of all the employees in the industry here, whether you belong to a union or not. We want to make the finest aero products in the world here in Wichita, Kansas. So the issue will be broached. I know we will have debate, we will have serious discussion. We asked the company, Bill, to approach this with an open mind as well. How do we eliminate the specter of fear that exists in workers in an industry that is so vital and so great and so much needed in this country? That how do we assure jobs are going to be here today, tomorrow, and for their kids to take? So, foremost, that issue needs resolution. We need to make progress on this idea and concept of job security. Another issue that will take time and discussion, it'll take research, it'll take education, it'll take understanding, and that is this overarching tough issue we face all around this country in every industry, and that is the delivery of good quality health care that enables workers then to come to work, do their jobs, return home safely, and have families that can join them in a healthy, safe, and prosperous environment. We know there's concerns on the company side about cost. Our members share those concerns. They too are concerned about cost. But quality also is an issue that drives a lot of this because we understand the purpose and the value of quality because we deliver that in the products we make to sell to the consuming public every day. Pensions are going to be critical. I don't have to tell anybody in this room that across America, with the continuing softness of the economy, with the ups and downs of Wall Street, with the gimmicks we've employed over the years of 401ks, of IRAs, of expedited savings plans, retirement plans, etc., none are delivering on the promises that were made. The only thing that still continues to work, And though it gets derided by Wall Street, it gets derided by investment bankers, is the concept of a good defined benefit pension plan. This pension plan that we have, this pension plan our members depend on, that they look forward to enjoying as a fruit of their labor when their retirement years come, is of extreme importance. So I know we will spend time talking about that issue as well, to make it secure, to make it available and ready when it's there, and that we don't fall prey to the trap that's been set elsewhere by other companies and other industries where we don't have pensions for new hires. And I would just explain to everyone here, this union's faced that issue. We have seen employees forego pensions for new hires to achieve a little bit better bump as they look to retirement, given the demographics of the workforce. This union also represents and is the largest union in the airline industry, where every major carrier in this country has been through bankruptcy once, twice, 3 times. We've seen what happens when we cut out new hires for pensions. We've seen what happens when we forego the unborn. Then a point comes where pension plans get terminated and frozen. Those pension plans then get sold to insurance companies. And those insurance companies issue annuities. And then that employee is left not to deal with their union or their employer, they're left to deal with a nameless, faceless insurance company. And if that insurance company has severe losses in its investments on Wall Street, and I would remind you of a company called AIG, employees end up with nothing. We don't want to be a part of that history or that legacy. So we will be talking hard, we will be bargaining hard about pension plans. I know there are IAM members today who no longer have a pension because of the scheme I just described. And lastly, Bill, you emphasized, and I agree, and rightfully so, education, training, a workforce for the future, a workforce that we can launch in 2012. We believe in that very much. We believe in continuing education. We believe that learning is lifelong. And we believe that it should be a joint venture with a union and an employer to promote that and to pursue it to the ends of the earth if necessary, to keep our workforces on the cutting edge so that no one else will have the ability to compete with them. That's belief in the employee. That's belief in a system. That's a belief in an employer. And so we join you in that, especially when that effort's linked to keeping good jobs here in Wichita, Kansas, to keeping good jobs here in America, to keeping the kind of society, a middle-class society, this country needs and aspires to. And if those are the goals, if those are the guidelines we will set before us to begin negotiations, we accept that and we look forward to a productive negotiations. I can assure you, the IAM and its committee, we have a group of negotiators here I'm extremely proud of. And they've been through this fight many times, this struggle. They're here to bargain a contract. This union does not bargain strikes. Idiots can negotiate strikes. We try to negotiate an agreement. Sometimes things don't work and we end up, for both sides, in an unfortunate circumstance. But we find that out at the end of the day. We begin this negotiation optimistic that we can find the pathway to an agreement. And with that, Bill, I thank you for having us here today and for the opportunity to engage once again in the process of collective bargaining. Yes, sir. Sure thing. Thank you.
Yeah.